Hi, Courtney here, and I wanted to do a little video on yoga for autoimmune to kind of give you a basis of things that you need to know. Now, I can't possibly cover everything you need to know for autoimmune issues because there are so many. And I myself have autoimmune issues. I'm 49, and when I was 27, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. Later, they diagnosed me with Sjogren's, and I always feel like I say that one wrong, and Epstein-Barr. So my Epstein-Barr titers were really high. And what was happening during that time was I was completely exhausted. I had been a very active person. I had always exercised, but I apparently was not immune to Epstein-Barr and caught it. And I got to where I would get up in the morning. I could function until about 10 a.m. I had 3 babies under the age of 4. And after that, I was done for the day. Like, I literally could not function. And it was hard because it was like an invisible illness. And I'm only telling you that to help you understand the people that you may see in your yoga classes and what they're going through. So first of all, with autoimmune, it ranges. I mean, you don't always know what you're getting. Sometimes people are in flare-ups for a really long time, and sometimes they have flare-ups. So I am at that stage now at 49. I am much healthier than I was at 29, but I have times where I have flare-ups and then it puts me down. So commonly, autoimmune is inflammation in the body, and it can be exacerbated by things like diet. Stress is a big one, major life changes. And so those are commonly things you're going to see. Is now I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I have thyroid disease that's related to all of this as well. So thyroid disease is not considered autoimmune, but you will often see thyroid disease, Hashimoto's, along with autoimmune. So what does that have to do with yoga? Some things you need to know with autoimmune are that every day is different. And so you need to find out, first of all, are they capable of getting on the floor? I have a friend who has autoimmune and is actually done some podcasts. She's a yoga therapist as well. And she actually does well in hot yoga classes. However, statistics show that most people do not need to overheat with autoimmune, especially MS and certain things like certain arthritis and things like that. I know that heat definitely exacerbates my autoimmune problems. So we want to be careful not to generalize and say always, because different people and different constitutions will respond differently. So we often ask questions like, what makes it worse? What makes it better? And people sometimes, when you're in the thick of something, like you may be able, for instance, my friend and I, when our kids were little, we might be worn out and tired, and you would call the other person and say, well, did you think to do this? And you're like, oh my gosh, that's such common sense. I know this, right? But when you're in the thick of it, sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. So you want to determine what kind of practice they need. Do they need, are they there for a gentle practice? And generally with autoimmune, if they're in a flare, we're going to do a gentle practice. It's going to be a stress management type practice. Oh man, the sun just like came out behind the clouds and is casting a light on me. So if they are having a lot of inflammation in the body, a lot of times you may need to talk to them about looking into like what's an inflammatory diet look like, or giving them some information to look into, things that are anti-inflammatory, like an anti-inflammatory diet. Talk to them about researching some things about stress, or share some information. I try to avoid telling people like what to do or what to eat, but say some things you might want to look into. There's a lot of research that autoimmune and inflammation go hand in hand, and that stress is a big factor in that because it causes the sympathetic nervous system to go into fight or flight, which causes inflammation. And I believe strongly this is what happened to me, having 3 babies in 4 years, being in a bad marriage, and my body just being worn out. So you want to ask questions, open-ended questions, not yes or no. and listen, and then design a practice for them or put them in an appropriate class. So if they say, I have stiffness or soreness, my joints are sore, those are common issues with autoimmune. There may also be, for me, it manifested as an achy feeling that was in my fascia. So it was my connective tissue. So oftentimes it didn't feel like it was muscle or necessarily, so it did definitely feel like joint pain, but a lot of time it felt like the place between the muscle and the skin and the muscle and the bone. And so we know that's fascia, right? And there are many, many neurons in fascia, connective tissue. And if you're not sure what fascia is, think about if you peel an orange. You've got that outer skin of the orange, the thick part, and then there's that kind of suede looking cream part. That's like fascia is on our body. It holds we still can tell that as a round orange, but we've taken the outer part off. If you took our skin off, what you would see is fascia. It's also the part when you're taking a chicken breast, and I don't eat that anymore, but you're peeling the skin off and there's that stretchy stuff, that's fascia. And so sometimes when people have autoimmune, that is very inflamed and there's a lot of pain. So a gentle stress management type practice is I highly recommend. It doesn't mean that they can't do other types of yoga practices if they're feeling well. But if they start to notice that after those practices they feel worse, that is something to be mindful of. Because I have had this condition for over 20 years now, I have had to spend this whole 20 years figuring out I can do this, but not that. Like I can do this Pilates class, but if I do side planks, I'm going to hurt for a week. Or I can do compound moves, but if I add weights, it's going to cause pain in my joints. So it's very much about listening to your body, about helping the client learn to listen to their body and notice what hurts. And as a teacher, you can't take it personally, because I go to some very good classes with some very good teachers, and some of the things they teach hurt me. It's not because they're doing anything wrong. It's just that I have autoimmune issues, and there's certain things I can and can't do. So don't take it personally. Work with them, help them notice, and but generally it's going to be joint pain, fascia pain you're going to watch out for, and you're going to want to find out what makes it worse, what makes it better. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for listening today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Have a great day. Bye-bye.